These 10 things kill your value in front of a man. But if you think I'm about to say, when you don't look sexy, then you're sadly mistaken. Because there's so much more that goes into the way a man values a woman that's much more than just, is she hot or not? Which is exactly why majority of women don't pay attention to these areas and completely kill their value to the guy that they actually want to be with. Which is why I have to warn you. For today's show, if you miss any of these 10 points, you skip them, or you just aren't paying attention, that's going to most likely be the exact area you make a mistake in when you least want to make a mistake with the guy that you actually want to be in a relationship with. You've been beautiful people, okay? So for number one, we're going to talk about pursuit because women are tricking you. The world is tricking you. Society is tricking you. Do you want to know how they're tricking you? They're making you think that because you're more empowered, which you are, that now it becomes your responsibility to go for what you want. It is a mistake, and the men are actually devaluing you because of that. Let me explain to you how this works, right? So you go and you start pursuing a guy. When I say pursuing, you start thinking to yourself, okay, I see the girlies say that maybe we should approach guys the way that they approach us. Tell them they're beautiful, tell them they're handsome, ask them for their number, all of these different things. Because if I see a guy that I want, I should be going for that guy. This is exactly what happens. You're thinking, I'm coming across as genuine, I'm showing him my appreciation, I'm showing him how much I want him, which are all good positive signs. But the problem with that is guys don't really know how to respond to women who pursue them. Just gonna be super real with you. A lot of times what also happens is they build a perception of you around the idea that you're doing what most women they deem to be valuable or desirable would not do, which is pursue them. Because in their mind, they're thinking, okay, most women who are getting approached by a ton of men don't even have the time, energy, or capacity to be approaching or pursuing men because they're spending all their time and energy literally fighting off the hundreds and thousands of men who are trying to approach them. And that's enough energy spent already. So the only way she could have the capacity to pursue me is if she was desperate, undesirable, or just flat out weird, right? Now, I know a lot of you aren't necessarily in that position, or you're like, hey, I'm not desperate, I'm not undesirable, I just approached the guy because I wanted to approach the guy, which is exactly why we're having this conversation today. Because I don't want you making these very easy mistakes, having the wrong mindset or approach to the way that you go about your relationships, and then coming across in a way that I know you don't want to come across. Because I'll be honest with you, and I'm telling you this as a guy, I'm tall, okay? So when I go out, I do get approached by women. I'm not saying, okay, let's have an honest conversation. Two things will happen. Like I was gonna tell you a little bit of a white lie. I'm gonna have an honest conversation with you right now. Two things will happen if you approach a guy. One that will happen is he'll just flat out deny you, which that's pretty embarrassing. The second thing that will happen, which happens if you meet a certain threshold of attractiveness, I'm just trying to be real with you, the guy will still be concerned, but in his concern of the fact that you pursuing him probably means you're less desirable, he'll say, but she does meet the threshold of attractiveness to the point where I wouldn't not do it, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't not sleep with her. And so if she's gonna pursue me and approach me, even though I deem her to be less desirable than other women that I would pursue, I'll still use her, or I'll just not be honest with her about the fact that I don't actually plan on building a real relationship with her. I'll allow her to continue pursuing me, and then we'll see what we can really get or take advantage of in the process of her pursuing me, okay? I'm just telling you the honest truth of those are the two directions that guys will go. And I don't want you making that mistake. And I know sometimes it's hard because you're thinking, well, I can't ask for his number. No, you can't. Okay, that's gonna kill your value. I can't go up to him and approach him for, no, you can't. Let him come to you. If you guys are making eye contact, you're smiling at him, he's smiling at you, he should be able to come up to you. For no reason, under no circumstances, should you be the one approaching a man. I don't care where it is, I don't care what event you're at, I don't care who's around you, I don't care which friend is hyping you up, do not do it. Allow men to approach you. If they don't have the courage to approach you, too bad, so sad. That's all you have to be thinking about, all right? Let's hop into, our next point here. All right. There we go. Make sure my paper don't get too wrinkly. Okay, so for number 2, we're gonna talk about reassurance. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting your man to compliment you every now and again. I don't have a problem with that, and I know it makes you feel good as a woman. Here's where things fall apart. If reassurance becomes your only way of feeling good about yourself, you're gonna have an issue, because you're gonna be like a reassurance pit hole. You're gonna be like a reassurance quicksand, a reassurance void. Meaning, what's supposed to be happening is you and your self-esteem help you feel pretty. So when you get dressed up, when you wear the things that you feel you look good in, that compliment your body, the colors that you feel look good on you, you look in the mirror and your self-esteem tells you, I'm that B word. I look good. I look sexy. My dump truck, my ass looks amazing. My yitties look amazing. My body looks nice and tight. I'm so desirable. I'm so sexy. That's what your self-esteem is supposed to do for you. Void and without any man or his explanation or his compliments or whatever, right? Anything he says is just a cherry on top. What happens when you become a reassurance pit hole, a reassurance void? You plus the man's words are the only way you're able to feel good about yourself, the only way you're able to feel pretty. This becomes a void because now, anytime you want to lift yourself up, you need him to say something to you, about you, compliment you on your dress, compliment you on your look, compliment you on your whatever. The problem with this is it doesn't give the man that you're dating or talking to the space to not do that sometimes, not because he doesn't think you're pretty, not because he doesn't think you look sexy, but simply because he just didn't say it this time. Because he's thinking about other things. He might have other things on his mind. He might have his own anxieties that he's going through at the time. And so the reason that this really kills your value is if you become that girl that's like, do you love me today? Oh, you haven't spoken to me in 5 minutes. Do you hate me now? Oh, you didn't compliment my dress today. Do you think I look disgusting? Do you think I look like a bum? Oh, you hate me, don't you? You just hate me so. Trust me, that is exhausting, okay? I know as a woman, you're not experiencing what it's like to receive that. So you might just think it's cute or quirky. It's exhausting, because when a guy feels like he constantly has to lift you up just to feel good about yourself, it starts to feel like he has to carry you on his back. Like he doesn't have a partner. He has like a baby that he always has to soothe all the time. No, there. I still think you're pretty, even though I didn't compliment you in the past 2 minutes. No, there. Even though I haven't, told you and confessed how much I love you in the past 5 minutes, I still love you. That is exhausting. And I don't want you to think that, oh, well, these are just my insecurities and I need his words to be able to feel good about myself. You need to work on yourself so that your self-esteem is the thing that's holding you up. And yes, of course, you can like and enjoy his compliments, but you don't want that to be the thing that you need in order to feel good about yourself. Does that make sense? Okay, let's hop into our next point. All right. So for number 3, we're going to discuss compliments. Now, I talked about reassurance and compliments as they relate to the reassurance that he will give you. Now, this is another easy mistake to make with men that will kill your value. See, you enjoy compliments, and this is the very interesting part. You enjoy compliments, so you think, okay, well, the men probably really enjoy compliments. Yes, but also no, because the way that they enjoy compliments is different from the way you enjoy compliments. For guys, if you make this mistake of over complimenting them, I put a whole bunch of different compliments that you could give a guy. You're so handsome, you're so sexy, oh my God, you're out of my league. I've never met a guy as amazing as you. Your muscles are so huge, you're so big, you're so tall. You're just like a god. I've never met someone as amazing and awesome as you. You're not even like a human being. This does not come across how you want it to come across. Guys do not respond properly to being worshipped. I'm gonna say it again, so that we're on the same page. Men that you actually want to take you seriously, you actually want them to value you, they do not respond well to being worshipped. They will start to see you as a fan as opposed to seeing you as an equal, as a partner. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I seen that you did this, you did a good job with that and all that other stuff, right? But when you're over complimenting a guy, when you're going above and beyond and using compliments as a way to like persuade him into liking you, you're not going to get the proper effect. In fact, you're going to have the opposite effect. Because as you're trying to over compliment him, thinking that, oh my God, this is making me so much more desirable in his mind, he's thinking to himself, what is she overcompensating for? And why is she going above and beyond trying to compliment me as if she's trying to convince me to like her through these compliments? I also feel like she's probably a fan and probably a less desirable woman to all the other men, which is why she's trying so hard and using all these different tactics to try and make me or convince me to want to be with her through these compliments, okay? So the reason I'm saying this is another subtle way to kill your value in front of the guy, but you're thinking you're actually doing something positive. Does that make sense, right? The Scorpio says, I'm here for the entertainment, not dating advice, because men are a whole lost cause. Well, the Scorpion, here's the thing, I'm splashing water all over my face. You come here for the entertainment, you might learn something, and then the day that you actually go out on a date, you'll realize, that you actually have all this information inside your head, and you'll realize, it's actually so much easier to date now because I already know what to expect and what not to do and what to do, okay? Let's hop into our next point, okay? One that a lot of people struggle with. So, for number 4, we're going to discuss availability. This one is very, very easy to have things fall apart. I put here a little bit of a fake schedule for the week, right? So you got your friends, you got a combination of work, dinner, things to do for yourself, things to do with other people throughout the weekday. And then the weekends, of course, you might have birthdays, family events, you might go out to the bar, the club, or whatever with some of your girlfriends, right? Availability is such an important thing to manage because it also is affecting your value and how he sees you in the relationship. Do not make the mistake of, it's not just being available in the sense of saying, okay, well, I'll hang out with him and I'll drop everything that I'm doing to spend some time with him and not be with my girlfriends. It's also this very, very easy mistake. This is a very easy one to make. You allow him to get used to the ability of getting access to you the day of, okay? Because sometimes, let's just say for the sake of example, right, in this schedule here, on the Thursday, you already had a plan to work and then maybe relax after. So you weren't particularly doing anything important during that Thursday afternoon. And just happened that he sent you a message on Thursday at, let's say, 2 p.m. while you're still at work and you haven't even gotten back home yet and said, hey, I'm free this Thursday or today, which is Thursday, and I'm just trying to see, do you want to do something later? Maybe I could come over, watch a movie. You come over to my place, watch a movie. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I was already planning to relax today. I was already planning to have a chill night today. So what's the harm in the process of me relaxing? I relax with him instead of relaxing by myself. Tomisin, you're an idiot. I'm already free. So there's nothing wrong with me saying I'm free when I'm actually free. It's the truth. Here's the mistake though, and this is why it kills your value. You are allowing him, your man is a dog, okay? Any guy you date, you're dating a dog. And at the beginning of your relationship, your dog is a puppy. You are always training your puppy to understand how to go about this relationship. When you allow this to happen on that Thursday and you allow him to book and schedule you the day of, show up and actually get access to you that same day, he's gonna say, oh, interesting. So that means that anytime I want her, I order her up like DoorDash and she'll be available to me. I'm a man, okay? So I'm telling you how this, it's so subconscious. They'll now say, okay, so the next time I want to see her, I won't think about planning or scheduling seeing her until I know I want to see her in that moment. I assure you, it will become a habit for him to say, I'm not thinking about scheduling. I'm not thinking about planning. I'm not thinking about organizing. When I'm ready to see her, I will message her that day. And my expectation will be, just like of this Thursday, when I was able to get access to her at 2 p.m. and then see her at 6:30 after we finished work, I will continue to do that throughout the relationship and never spend a Sunday, a Monday thinking about how to plan or schedule for the upcoming Thursday. okay? What that will also do is that will diminish your value in his eyes, because he's going to deem it that you are less viable and desirable if anytime he needs you, you show up to his place like DoorDash. Do not be DoorDash for men. Even if you're actually available and he schedules or tries to plan a date with you or seeing you on the same day, you tell him no. Because you need to be communicating, I am not available or accessible whenever you feel like it. I'm available or accessible when you put an effort into saying, okay, it's Monday, I want to see you on Friday, let's plan and organize our date for Friday. That's the only way I'm an accessible woman to you. And I know it sounds like, oh, well, that sounds like a game. Tomisin, that's a game. Why do we have to play all these games? Listen, I don't make the rules. I'm a teacher here to facilitate as a vessel your understanding of how men perceive things, receive things, so that you can be received and perceived the right way, how you want, and then get treated how you want. So the reality of it is men do not respond well to you being available same day. They respond a lot better to having to plan and organize the time that they see you, because even that little bit of effort in the planning and the organization helps them understand that your accessibility is a lot harder to get to than it is another woman who he can just see the same day. Are we all on the same page? Tyler says, yeah, none of that anymore. See, sometimes it can be easy to make these small mistakes, all right? Let's hop into our fifth point. I told you we're going fast today. I got them all written out. All right. For our fifth thing here, we have overspending. Now, I know some of you will say, this guy, he's an idiot. This YouTuber, he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Because why the hell would I spend any money on a man? I'm not that dumb. I'm not that stupid. He's not talking to me. Let me give you an example that I've helped women with that are in these type of situations where things can actually go a turn that you never expected, okay? Let's say the timeline is 2 months that you've been talking and dating a guy, okay? But let's say in this 2 months, you're dating, but you haven't gone on any dates, okay? You've been there. We've all been there. Even though you're talking to this guy, there's no real established seriousness to the way that you guys are actually dating. So throughout these 2 months, you've been seeing him, but it's not like he's putting in real effort to taking you out and doing a whole bunch of stuff for you, okay? You know the type of situations I'm talking about. Now, let's say during this timeline, because this does happen to some of you, his birthday comes up. We could even implant here, whether it's his birthday, Christmas, or whatever holiday, New Year's, whatever holiday we want to implement here. And you start thinking to yourself, okay, well, it's his birthday. Yeah, we haven't been, going on dates in these 2 months, but it's his birthday and I want to make him feel special for his birthday. So for his birthday, I want to purchase some gifts for him. I want to take him out on a nice dinner because I want to show him that I really like him. I really care about him. I want to make him feel special. I want to show him that he's special. So this is what I want to do for him on his birthday. See how easy it is to fall for the trap. Because when we actually break it down, even though you're not wrong in wanting to make him feel special, let's ask ourselves, what has he done for you? In the 2 month span in which you guys have been together, which you guys have been talking, you guys have gone on no actual dates. The only time you guys see each other is at either your place or at his place, where maybe the most that you'll do in terms of paying for anything is ordering Uber Eats or DoorDash like we were just talking about, right? And that's not him actually investing any of his money into you. Now, I'm not saying you got to be a gold digger. You got to be looking for a guy to spend thousands of dollars on you. But see, this is such an easy trap. You're trying to make a guy feel special that has had no interest in making you feel special. Not that he has to spend thousands of dollars on you to make you feel special, but he clearly, in the 2 month span, it hasn't really been a concern of his to say, I want to take her out, make her feel special, have her feel good about herself and feel good about how seriously I'm taking this relationship. So ask yourself, why are you going out of your way to spend your hard-earned money to make this man feel special because it's his birthday when he hasn't spent the past 2 months doing that for you even one time? You see how easy it is to fall for the trap. You might be thinking overspending would never happen to me, but then it is, because you're spending money on a guy who's spending nothing on you. Okay, so I know it feels like, damn, am I really gonna have to be paying attention to all of these things? Yes, because your job as a woman is to be observant. Your job as a woman is also to understand, am I coming across desperate or not? Am I coming across as a woman who's trying way too hard or not? Because I know it sounds super toxic. The men do not respond well to women who are trying excessively hard to prove something to them. We are not designed for women to be trying excessively hard to prove something to us if we're taking that woman seriously, right? We're designed to feel like we have something to prove to that woman, if anything, in that relationship dynamic. Are we on the same page so far? I see some of you guys, I'm not being no DoorDash no more. I don't want you to be DoorDash, okay? I definitely don't want you to be DoorDash. Someone asked me, can I drink my water a little bit differently one time? How else do I drink water? How am I supposed to drink it, like this? Like take small sips? I don't know how to drink it in a way that's satisfying. Let's hop into our 6 point here. Okay. So for point number 6, we're going to talk about apologizing. Specifically, we're going to discuss apologizing for your boundaries. Do not do this. It kills your value. So let's give an example of a boundary here. All right. No going to his house on the first night. You know, I tell you not to do that. But let's say, for the sake of example, this boundary that you have, right, is a little bit loose. Because you're like, you know what, this is a boundary if I kind of don't like the guy, he's not that attractive, or I'm not really feeling the vibe of the date. But you know, if I'm feeling the vibe of the date, you know, we'll see where things go. We'll see how the night goes. This formula is going to represent what's a mistake and what it should be like. How your relationship with your boundary should be is, hey, you know what, I and this guy come with my boundary here, okay? Meaning, if this guy wants me, I'm gonna come with this boundary. That's the only way that we can be together. What some women will do sometimes is you'll go on these dates, you'll have this boundary here. Then when he says, hey, I've been vibing with you, and you're vibing too, this is the difference here. When you actually like him too, when you're actually attracted to him too, and you have this rule for yourself, but you feel like, oh, but this rule's gonna disappoint him. But I don't wanna disappoint this guy because this is not like the other guys. I actually like this guy. And then you have this boundary box here. You're like, listen, I wanna come over to your place. I really do. But you know, I'm sorry. It's just like me, and I feel like I can't because I can't do it. I don't want to be one of those girls that goes over on the first night and then we sleep together and you know, like, and then you view me wrong and then maybe you think like I'm a hoe or something. Like I just feel so bad. Like, but I really want to go. And see, this is the problem. As you're explaining the boundary, this is the psychological effect of what you're saying and how you're saying it, because everything is being perceived. It doesn't even sound like you actually want to have this boundary. It doesn't even sound like you actually believe in the standards that you're setting. It sounds like you're saying, oh, well, if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, I have this boundary, then I would definitely come over to your place. But he's not hearing that you have a boundary. He's hearing that you feel like doing this thing and you just probably need to be persuaded, which does not come across how you want it to come across. When you set boundaries, you need to make men feel like this is my boundary, whether you like it or not. And I have no hard feelings whether if you feel like this boundary is too much, you don't want to be with me, too bad, so sad. There'll be lots of other men who want to be with me. I know it will make those of you who are accustomed to being people pleasers feel very awkward and weird. But there's nothing wrong with that awkwardness and that weirdness. I promise you it will pass. And even you being mean to a guy or feeling like you're being mean, the men will respond accordingly. The ones that aren't interested in you, they'll go off about their business. The ones that do have interest in you, they will continue to pursue you regardless of you being mean by setting boundaries. Anytime you're communicating a boundary, you do not apologize for it as if you're sad to have it. If it's your boundary, you stand on it. You don't have sometimes boundaries because you're not going to be able to build successful relationships that way where guys actually respect you and value you. Men respect and value women who have hard boundaries. And I know it sucks, but you have to even approach your relationships and your talking stages and dating stages saying to yourself, I don't care how much I like a guy. I don't care if I feel like that guy is my husband on the very first date. He will still abide by these boundaries if he wants to be with me. And I feel no ways about setting these boundaries because I know deep down in my heart, if this guy is really my husband, then he will be more than okay abiding by my boundaries. You have to convince yourself, you have to like brainwash yourself into understanding that a function of the guy that you are actually going to be with, that is your husband, that is the right guy for you, is also going to be that he is accepting of the boundaries that you have. Do you get what I'm saying? Not that I find the guy that I really like and then I change my boundaries so that he doesn't slip out of my fingers. No, 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 no. The guy that you actually are meant to be with will be okay with those boundaries. Are we on the same page here? Okay. Let's hop into our next point. I need to get a taller ceiling. Okay. So for point number 7, we're going to discuss the rush. Now, I broke this down into a visual so we can all be on the same page. You are going down this road. You want to get to marriage. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're in the Players Club, that should be what you want. Now you have this guy. This guy, he's unsure of what he wants. He's going down this path. He's figuring things out. He wants to see where things go. He's going with the flow. That's his lifestyle. That's his prerogative. Here's where women make the mistake of killing their value to the guy. They start trying to rush this guy and drag him onto this road because they meet a guy. You meet this guy and you like this guy. You like his vibe. You like how he looks. You like his aesthetic. You feel like he's a good fit for you. The only problem is he's going down this path and you want him and you to be going down this path. So you kind of rush him and try to basically drag him into being on this path. Let me tell you why this kills your value. Because men understand that they're less likely, pretty much unlikely, to change what their own desires are for themselves. So if they come into the relationship not even seeing marriage as valuable, you're not going to convince them through your words that marriage is all of a sudden valuable. It does not work like that. What also happens is you come across very, very, very desperate when you begin having the approach of being like, oh, well, no, we need to get married like in the next year. Like I have a timeline. I need to get married by this time. I need to get pregnant by this time. I need to have children by this time. So come on, we gotta speed things up. We haven't been on enough dates. We need to do this next. We need to do that. I promise you, I know you're excited. I know you want your relationship. I know you want everything to look as perfect as you're imagining it to look, but you also have to understand when you begin trying to rush or urge men to do things that they don't seem to be ready for at all, you will always lose that way. Always lose. Always, always lose. Even if the guy goes ahead and he does the things that you want on the timeline that you want, you'll eventually realize after the fact, after you've been together or after you've been married for a while, that he'll say, yeah, honestly, I really didn't want this. I was just kind of going with what you wanted more or less, right? And you'll realize that the respect and the value that he should have for you in this relationship, he doesn't have. And the only reason he was taking action is because you were the one progressing this so much. Once again, like I say, the men do not respond well to women who are trying excessively hard to force the relationship to work. I know that other people, even some other women, will be convincing you that part of your empowerment in 2025 is to go for what you want. Get the man that you want, get the relationship that you want, make it happen, do it like this, take action. And it's not that I don't want you to take any action. It's not that I don't want you to get the relationship that you want, but the way that you get it in a feminine way is very different than the way that you get it in a masculine way. Your way of getting it is by doing things for yourself to attract it, not doing things to or for other men to try and convince them to like you. That's not how that works, not even a little bit. Are we on the same page so far? Okay. Let's hop into our 8th point here. Okay. Number 8, we're going to discuss joy. Now, you and this man equals fun. That's good. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea. Some of you know where that reference is from. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you enjoy spending time with your man. Here is where some of you will kill your own value with the guy that you're with. Let's say, for the sake of example, you and your guy, the guy that you're talking to, were supposed to go to like a group dinner where you're going to have a combination of single people, people who are in relationships, and people who are in relationships but just don't bring their partner to the dinner, right? Maybe it's a big group one. And you guys are supposed to go to this group dinner, and your guy's supposed to come with you. So you're super excited. You're like, oh yeah, my man's going to come with me. I'm going to be on his arm. He's going to protect me. I'm going to feel safe. I'm going to look so good. We're going to look like a cute couple. We're going to take nice pictures for the gram. Maybe one of us will post it on our story. We might soft launch. Okay, we might. That's how the kids do it nowadays, right? We might soft launch on the gram tonight. So you're super hyped. You're super excited. And then let's say, for the sake of example, right, something comes up in his work week that makes it so that he can't make this group dinner. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, so now I'm just going to spend time with the girls without my man there? I don't think I'm going to go. And he tells you, yeah, you know, I don't think I can go because of work, because of this, because of that. And you're like, oh, that's such a bummer. I honestly, like, it's not even going to be fun without you there. So I guess I'll just stay at home. And he's like, no, go out with your girlfriends, enjoy yourself, have some fun. And you're like, no, because it's not the same. Like, we were supposed to go together, and it's just not going to be fun if it's just me and the girls, because they're going to be with their men, and then I'm just going to be third wheel. You do not look how you want to look when you approach or address a situation like that. It's okay for you to have your own life. You're allowed as a woman. You know, this is 2025, right? You're allowed as a woman to enjoy your life, even if your man's not there. You know that, right? It's actually expected that as a grown adult, especially when you first start talking to a guy and you guys are still getting to know each other, you've had your own life since before you started dating that guy. So the expectation isn't that just because you start dating that guy that you don't have fun in any places that he's not there with you. It also communicates a lot of times that you have a very codependent personality, which really isn't very attractive to most men. I'll just be super honest with you. Unless he has a really, really codependent personality where he wants to be around you 24/7 and on your hip, most men don't respond positively to women who have a very extreme codependent personality, because they start to feel like, well, I can't do anything for myself. Or they start to feel guilty when they're like, damn, I kind of want to be by myself today. Or I kind of want to just go into the other room and just like chill, like not have you like right here breathing on my neck. Like, we're all human beings. Sometimes we want to be by ourselves. That's okay. That's not a crime. And I also don't want you to kill your value by coming across as codependent because you don't know how to enjoy yourself or have fun outside of being with your man, or your man being along, like with you wherever it is that you're going. Okay? You can go out with your girlfriends. In fact, I encourage that. I don't want you to stop that just because you have a boyfriend or you start talking to a guy. I'm not saying you guys all have to go to the club every weekend and shake your ass to Sexy Red, but going out with your girlfriends, having relationships with your family members, spending time with them as well without your man there, and still enjoying yourself is such a healthy part of communicating to men. Yes, you get my time and you get access to me, but other people also desire to have my time and have access to me in both a platonic way and, in a friendship way where I have family, I have friends, they all want to spend time with me. I'm a desirable human being. I'm a desirable energy to be around. So yes, you're competing with the other guys who also want to be with me romantically, but you're also competing with the other people in my life who love being around me because I'm a lovable person, right? And that's part of the things that you communicate indirectly when you're doing this properly, okay? Let's hop into our next point. Number 9, self-care, okay? This is one that a lot of women get misconstrued, so I'm gonna explain this to you how I really mean this. Self-care, see this pie chart I drew here? Okay, it's not exact science, but this is what your self-care should look like. Because really and truthfully, as a woman, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a secret, okay? We men, we desire you the most when you are investing in yourself the most. Prioritize yourself over anything else, and you will always be happy with your results, especially as it relates to how men respond to you, okay? Now, I wrote down some of the things that self-care consists of, and you're gonna notice a theme here. So let's say hair, nails, grooming, skin, all of these things can be adjusted, worked on, that don't require you to look like Megan Good or Kim Kardashian or whoever, right? You can do all of these things and work on these things and take care of yourself without having to make a drastic change. All it takes is focused energy on saying, hey, this matters to me. I'm going to make sure to actually do my hair. I don't want to look like a zombie today. I'm going to make sure I take care of my nails. I take care of my grooming. I take care of my skin. Do the best I can so that my presentation actually looks how I want to be received by people. Okay? Now, these things are more mental and spiritual. So peace, relaxation, getting rid of stress, right? And planning, I'll get to in a second. But let's focus on these three right now, right? Peace, relaxation, and getting rid of stress is all about understanding, how do I manage my spirit? How do I have my mental and my spiritual in the right place so that I can have that so-called magical fairy dust spilling all over the place, which is really just your feminine energy that's really magnetic and attractive, but you have to be in the right place mentally and spiritually to have that magnetic feminine energy, okay? So if you haven't taken care of some of your traumas that keep you anxious, that put you on edge, those are things that you're going to have to address, because that's addressing your peace. Also, making sure that you're giving yourself time in your week to relax, to not constantly be feeling like you're fighting back and forth with your week, right? And feeling like, oh, I'm always so stressed. I never have any time for yourself. Making time for yourself. This also goes back to availability. Remember what I talked about when I was saying, hey, don't just say, oh, well, I had a plan to relax today, so instead of relaxing, I'll go and spend time with this guy, right? Give yourself you time, okay? Give yourself that time so that you have the ability to, when you are actually showing up on your dates, when you are actually spending time with that guy, you're bringing the right energy to the date, right? You're bringing the right energy to the hangout. Because guys are going to feel that. And if you have so much stress and anxiety and you're like on edge when you get on the date, the way that you're talking, the way that you're walking, the way that you present yourself is all going to represent that. I guarantee you. Even though men are a little bit emotionally stunted, they still experience and feel that. Now, the other thing here is planning, okay? Now, planning seems like, what does that have to do with self-care? That doesn't make any sense. Here's how planning relates to self-care. When you plan and organize your schedule for the upcoming week, you actually do that work. What it allows you to do is to say, this time is for work, this time is for my friends, this time is for my family, this time is for myself and no one else. This time is free for me to go out and spend time with other people, go on dates, do whatever, right? That planning actually helps you be relaxed throughout the week, have less stress, and be more at peace. Because even if your week is busy, you don't feel like you're constantly catching up to your week. You ever left your house in the morning and you're just feeling like, even if you're not that late, you just feel like you're behind. Like you just have this constant anxiety of like, I'm constantly failing. Like I'm late right to work. Then you get to work and you feel like you're catching up on all the projects that you have to do. Then even after you get to work, you're like, I have a million things to do when I get home. And you feel like you're constantly just running your entire week from behind, trying to catch up to your week. Planning, organizing, and scheduling your life to a T is what allows you to go through your week and not feel like you're always catching it from behind or running from behind it. You feel like you're on top of your week. You feel like you're conquering your week. You feel like you're accomplishing things, and then you subsequently have a lot more relaxation, a lot less stress, and you can bring that energy into your dates. You can bring that energy to the guy that you're dating, and you can properly present yourself how you want to. This is why it kills your value, because a lot of women, they don't bother to take care of themselves properly. They spend majority of their energy on others and majority of their energy outputting to other things. They do not plan. So they're constantly in stress mode. They're constantly in fight or flight. They're constantly like, well, since I don't have time and I'm running from behind, I can't take care of my hair. I can't take care of my nails. I can't do any of the stuff I wanted to do for myself. So let's just look like a bum and just go about it, right? Then you have this snowball effect. You're investing in others, giving yourself no time. It's stressing you out more. You're losing more of your feminine energy. You're constantly in fight or flight mode and everything falls apart. And the guys receive that as, oh, this is not the woman that I actually want to be with, because she doesn't even have the desirability, the magnetic ability, the aura that I want in the type of woman that I know I would want to be with or that I'm attracted to. Are we on the same page so far? Okay. I know I'm going very fast. We got lots of points to cover. All right. Let's hop into our next point here. Okay. Number 10. Number 10, confusion. Now, I wrote out this diagram. I hope it's not very confusing to represent how this works. We have two statements here. I have a girl best friend forever. And let's see where things go. Okay? There are two types of women in this world. There are naive women and there are smart women. Now, I tell you all the time about the fact that guys, they learn their behavior. When I say they learn their behavior over the course of time, in trying things on different women, they understand some things will work on some women and some things will not work on some women. As they get to know you, they're always trying to gauge and understand which one of these women are you and what can they get away with, because the smart women will not accept certain things and the naive women, they'll accept it. So in these two statements here, what I mean by confusion is both of these statements create a gray area. In this sense, the gray area is I have a girl best friend. So we hang out, we spend time together one-on-one, but we're platonic. We slept together once or twice before, but it wasn't really a thing, and we realized we're better off as friends, so we haven't done anything in a while, so we just hang out, but don't worry, you're still my girlfriend, right? But that's a gray area. This gray area is in saying, hey, I want to spend time with you. I want to be around you, but I don't know what capacity I want to be around you. I don't know where I want the relationship to end up being. I don't know what I want it to look like, but let's just spend time with each other. Definitely sleep together. Definitely let me hit it from the back. Definitely let me do that. But also, let's just kind of see where things develop and how they develop, right? That's another gray area. All of those gray areas lead to confusion. Smart women will not allow confusion to be present in any of their relationships, because all of that confusion only ends up making them suffer because they waste a bunch of their time. The guy extracts what he wants from that woman, and then afterwards he says, yeah, my bad that I wasted your time. Okay, and you're just left with a apology, if that. The naive woman, they wait around because they're like, oh, even though I'm confused, even though we don't have direction here, even though a lot of the stuff that we're doing doesn't really make a lot of sense or have any forward momentum or direction, I like you a lot and you're a really attractive guy. You're like the first guy that's ever been tall, dark, and handsome. You're like the first guy that's ever had a super amazing D game. You're like the first guy I've ever talked to that's over 6 foot. So because of that, I feel like, I'll just, go along with this confusion and allow, even though the situation doesn't make sense, even though when I talk to my girlfriends, I can't really explain what we're doing here, even though when I tell my family about you, I'm telling them about something that really doesn't exist because I'm exaggerating what we have done and what our relationship really is, I still want to be with you and hope that it works. So I'll just go along with the confusion, accept it, and hopefully, eventually, it will all make sense. It never does. But like I say, the men, they learn who they can try certain things with. So when you show them that you're one of these naive women that will accept this type of confusion, they'll say, oh, perfect. I know exactly what category she's in, and I know exactly how I'm going to go about this relationship, how I'm going to treat her, how I'm going to approach this. Because if she's a naive woman, if she's a woman that will just accept anything, even accept this confusion, well, then I can downgrade her in my mind. I'm not going to stop talking to her, right? Not going to stop getting access to her. Not going to stop hitting it from the back, for sure not. But what I am going to do is continue allowing this confusion to just fester in our entire relationship. She'll accept it. And even when she addresses it, I'll just say, oh, well, I was seeing where things going and I just haven't been ready for a relationship. Oh, well, me and that girl, the reason that we slept together again was simply because we weren't talking, we were in a fight, but I didn't know. If I would have known, I wouldn't have made it happen. We were drunk, whatever, right? And so guys will try to trick you that way because they have already devalued you, knowing you're a woman that accepts that type of control. So we're going to start off. This one got sent to me in my inbox, so that's why I'm not pulling up Discord, but we're going to be able to listen to it together, and then I'll answer it, and then we'll go on to our regular Discord, written out questions. Okay? Oh, sorry. So this question comes from just a little bit, who's asking this question in our Discord. So let's see what she has to ask.
Hey, Tomisin. My question has been sitting in the forum for 4 months or so. So I'm just gonna send it here. Hopefully you can answer it. So I was just wondering your thoughts on ASMR. I was curious about your opinion on like specifically erotic ASMR or like fourth wall role play audios, specifically creators like Boyfriend Audio or like Not Who Rose Thinks or Professor Cal. There may be some women in the chat who know, who those creators are. But as a single girl, I'm 22 by the way, but like as a single girl, I feel like Boyfriend Audio is like it's a very comfortable escape for me personally. It helps remind me that there is like a possibility for me to meet someone, at least with some sort of human decency, and it kind of like distracts me from the fact that I've never had anything like remotely similar. But in addition, regarding my last question, you had mentioned my guy like guys my age are not really looking for long-term investment. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I have the courage or interest to commit to an elder. But I mean, since the things that I enjoy doing for free are mainly like for people my age, like what places or career fields would you recommend for romantic stability? Uh, those are my questions. Hopefully you see this because I have been waiting quite some time for my question to be answered. So I hope you see this and thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Just a little bit in our Discord. So to answer your question, we'll start with the first half of your question, which is about um the, the boyfriend ASMR. Now I'm a little bit unfamiliar just because I've never bothered to search out boyfriend ASMR. But what I will say is, with things like that, you have to ask yourself, okay, what void are you trying to fill? Or what are you trying to accomplish when you're listening to boyfriend ASMR? Do you want to have the comfort of what it feels like to have a boyfriend just on the phone with you? Here's why I think that that's actually a bad path to go down, because you're looking for a solution to something that should be motivating you to go out and accomplish, if that makes any sense. So let me explain to you like men, and then I'll equate it to you. For men, right? What should be happening is their desire for sex, their desire to be with women and be around women should be driving them to say, even though it's, annoying or cumbersome to have to go to the barber, get my hair cut, shave, wear nice clothes, smell good, do all the things I need to do to be attractive and interesting to women, I still do that simply because I understand that in order for me to get access to women, to be able to have sex with women, to be able to have a girlfriend, I have to do those things in order for me to attract the woman that I want, right? So it becomes a motivating factor. Same for you, right? In you desiring to have a boyfriend, you will be motivated to make those changes, make those adjustments. Now, I don't need you to be approaching men, but I'm saying like do all the things necessary to put yourself out there so that you can have the relationship that you want, that you can get some of the perks that you want out of having a boyfriend. But if you allow yourself to become comfortable in a state where you don't actually need to go out and put yourself out there to get some of the perks or the dopamine hits that you're looking for in having a boyfriend, then you're actually going to self-sabotage, because as you begin getting more comfortable in that state, right? Let's say listening to boyfriend ASMR, the less motivated you are to put yourself out there, the less motivated you are to put yourself out there, the more you spend just in your comfortable state with your ASMR boyfriend. And then you have this cycle just go round and round and round, where now all you have is the ASMR boyfriend and you're deathly afraid of going and putting yourself out there, right? So that's why I say refraining from things like that. And I would hope none of you are using me as that, because I should be used as a tool to help you strategize, open your mind up to the possibilities of things. That's also the reason why we listen to some of these stories. Even though today her story was like way off topic, I'll make sure to vet the stories more so that they're more focused on exactly what we'd like to discuss. But that's why even we listen to these stories, right? Because I want you the same way where if you were having a bunch of girlfriends, you'd be able to hear their dating lives and you'd be like, damn, you went through that. Damn, he did that. Then when you're going through something similar, you'd be like, oh, I have a friend that went through that, right? That's the purpose of hearing all of these stories as well, to help you learn and strategize. So I say all that to say that is an important part of growing and keeping your motivation to put yourself out there, that I don't want you to rely on something that makes you more comfortable, but doesn't keep you motivated to do what your ultimate goal is, which is to get a real actual boyfriend. Does that make sense? Right? The other part of your question, as it relates to what career paths are the most conducive to healthy relationships, I would say it's easier for me to tell you the things to stay away from because there's obviously so many career paths you can go down. But I would say this, I would stay away from anything that is like, I want to be a rapper, okay? Because like, or a musician, simply because I'm not saying all musicians are bad, but let's think about what is success for a musician. I make an album, and then I tour around the world, going to different clubs, concerts, venues with a lot of alcohol around, a lot of drugs around, a lot of groupies around. And a successful career for me is touring the world, damn near year round. You know what I mean? It's, telling about my music, and having a bunch of fans and followers and things like that that I meet on my tours. So that really isn't conducive to a healthy relationship, because if you're going to be in one place while your man is traveling around the world, doesn't make a lot of sense. Of course, things like being can I say drug dealer, something that's very unstable doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, as it relates to like regular 9 to 5 jobs, what I'll say is even more important than the career path is, what is the sustainability of that career path? For example, let's say this guy works at a factory, just like some random factory, right? Or Amazon, let's say. That's not really a sustainable career path, because there's lots of turnover at Amazon. There's lots of people that'll work there for a couple of months or a year and then go off and do something else. If the guy that you're dating doesn't feel like, hey, I'm where I want to be for a long time, or I'm going down the path of where I want to be for a long time, where there's growth and there's upward mobility, then you're probably with the wrong guy, because what's going to transpire is he's either going to have to make a drastic 180 turn in order to be successful, or number two, he's just going to get fired from the job. He's going to start to have to scramble to look for something to do. And in the process of that, he's going to say, I have to prioritize my life and, my career, because I don't have a career. So I need to figure that out. And in the process of me figuring that out, I'm not really going to be a good partner. So that's why I say it's more about the sustainability and the consistency of that career and him wanting to do that career than it is exactly what he's doing. As long as it's not musician, drug dealer, something's, stupid that's just really not going to be conducive to like a proper healthy relationship. Does that make sense? Okay, let's hop into our other questions here. So I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of how we do our Discord time. You guys know it by now. We have our relationship advice forum for the free questions, which there's a bunch of, like just a little bit said, she hasn't gotten hers answered in a while. We have our premium section that you can send in your question via the link in my description, where it says Players Club Discord, premium Discord question, sorry. And then you can send in your question, and then I'll answer it first before we go into the free section. And then of course, we always have our private relationship questions that you guys can ask me directly as well, which I have to catch up on because I got a bunch this weekend that you guys can get this link. It's in my description as well. You can ask your private question. No one else reads it except for me, and I answer with a voice message, okay? Let's hop into our first question here in our Discord section. So this one comes from Allie. She says, what to ask on a first coffee date? I don't want to record my voice, so please read my message. Hey, Tomisin, I hope you're doing well. I haven't been on a date in a few years. Oops, let me grab my glasses. I haven't been on a date in a few years because I've been focusing on myself and raising my girls. I'm going on a coffee date soon and wanted to ask what kind of topics and questions I should bring up. We met on a dating site. I know you're not a big fan of those, but quite a few people I know have actually met their husbands through Muslim dating apps, so I guess it can work for us. He's the one who asked me out for coffee, and I'm a bit nervous. I really don't want to mess this up. Thanks. Okay, thank you, Ali. Here's the thing. Okay, so let's factor in your culture to how you're going to date, because how you're going to date is affected by your culture. So from my understanding, in Muslim culture, you don't really have boyfriend and girlfriend. You really just, hey, do we want to get married? Do we not? And you kind of go into it. Now, I know some people do it a little bit differently. Some people are a little bit more westernized, so they do have a boyfriend and things like that. But from my understanding, that's how it goes. Now, very important things that just from my own understanding of Islam, okay, and people who are Muslim, I'm sure you know for yourself, you should know, where do you stand on how important to you certain aspects of the religion and the culture are to you? Because I have some Muslim friends that they take the religion very seriously. They're praying 5 times a day, like they're doing all the things that they need to do. They're at the mosque, like they're very strict and serious. I also have some other friends, they're very unserious. They drink, they smoke, they have, sex outside of marriage. The only thing that they really don't do is eat pork. Okay. And so the reason I'm saying that is because you have to decide for yourself where on the spectrum you are. And then you have to know that the guy that you're meeting is on that same level as you. You don't want to be saying, oh, I'm a very relaxed, person when it comes to my religion and the way that I practice. And then you're going on a date with the guy who he prays 5 times a day and he takes it very seriously. There's misalignment there. Okay. Vice versa, if you're someone who's like, I do everything I possibly can to abide by the rules of my religion and practice it exactly as it says in the Quran, then you want to make sure that the guy that you're with is not someone who's very loosey-goosey with the stuff, because once again, there's going to be a lot of misalignment. So I actually personally think that should be one of the biggest or first topics of discussion, and getting his real answer and his real approach to relationships and to his religion, because that's really going to be the core of your relationship and what everything is going to be built off of. That's going to be your foundation. So if there's not an understanding of what the alignment is in that frontier, then you're really not going to be able to build off of it in any capacity. So if you want a topic of conversation to focus on, that should be the number one topic, because that's going to really determine how much alignment there is between the two of you, or how much misalignment there is. That should suffice enough conversation for a first date, that by the time you finish that 2 hours, you'll probably still have questions, but at least you'll be a lot closer to understanding, do we have real honest alignment here lifestyle wise? And my other tidbit for you, ask him what he feels first before you start talking about how you go about it for your lifestyle. Do not let him go after you tell him, I do it like this, I do it like that, because it's easy for him to just say, yeah, me too. Okay. Let's hop into our free section. Okay. I'm going to try and make sure I did everyone's that I was supposed to do. Self-mastery. Oh, this one was, well, we just kind of did just a little bit question. Narcissist marriage proposal. Please help. Okay. Let me see here. What is this? Oh, you sent in a text. Hold on. We might have to do yours another time. You sent in a whole text. Lenny, please send it in the Discord so we can read it properly this way. Okay. Kind of confused, need help. Sin City says, my boyfriend stays 30 minutes away from me. I work 8 to 5. He works 9:45 to 6. We both work Monday to Friday. I see him on the weekends. He says I'm too far, so I get to see him on the weekends, which itches my brain. Because he hangs out with his friends during the week, like all the time. The only thing that is keeping my composure is that he has to drive in the morning at 7:30 a.m. to my job. If he wants to pick me up during the week, he will have to drive to come get me. But I think you might say, does come and get me Friday after he gets off. Can you or someone help me? Well, this guy's your boyfriend, right? My honest answer is this isn't your job. Like, what I mean by that is this isn't your job to be like, I want to see my boyfriend more. How can I get my boyfriend to want to see me more? I'll be super real with you. Your job is really to say, yeah, I want to spend time with my boyfriend, but how much is he willing to go out of his way to spend time with me? If he is very lackadaisical with the process, then maybe this isn't the relationship for me. And that's a very hard thing to say to yourself and be honest with yourself about, because obviously you might like someone and obviously you might want to be with them. But if the logistics just aren't feasible to being with them, meaning like, hey, you want to go out with your guy friends, during the week, and you want to come see me like one day out of the week, if that, and you're saying for yourself that just doesn't work for me, then you have to be honest and say, well, this relationship dynamic, these logistics don't work for me, because I don't want to be with someone who I see less than once a week, or who I rarely ever see, right? Because it's difficult for them to get to me. And I know it sucks. I'm sure you're trying your best. I'm sure if you could have it differently, you would, but this probably isn't going to work out, because what you can't do, Sin City, is you can't start begging him, please come and see me. Please spend more time with me. Please want to hang out with me or make this work. It doesn't work like that. Guys don't respond to that. And even if he did come and see you more, it would be more out of the pity of you begging him to come and see you more, as opposed to him actually feeling like he wants to see you more. So if there's misalignment there because of the logistics part, then you have to accept that as a reality. So I said, what happens in Discord? What do you mean what happens in Discord? We're in Discord. Are you behind on the show? We're in Discord. Okay, let's go on to our next question. This needs more organization here. I wish it wouldn't do this to me because some of these are not in the right order, and also some of these are not highlighted even though I haven't answered them. Very, very unfortunate. Okay, so we just did Sin City. We did a fan. New boyfriend confusion. Okay. This one comes from Rinka. Okay. New boyfriend confusion. I'm 44. He is 46. I was single for 3 years after my last long-term relationship with this guy I met at the beginning of June this year. We talked on the phone for a week before the first date. Then we went on 2 very good dates. The following week, he invited me over to his house. We slept together. Okay. The next time we saw each other, he asked me to be his girlfriend. So how long into this are we? We talked on the phone for a week before the first date. So then went on 2 dates. So the following week. So we're in week 2 of you guys even knowing each other at all. The next time we saw each other, he asked me to be his girlfriend after 2 weeks of knowing each other. He asked you to be his girlfriend. On the 4th week, the 4th of July weekend, about a month after we met, he took me to meet his parents. He took you to meet his parents a month after meeting you. This was after sex. He owns a business and is busy all the time. I work and have my own place. After agreeing to be his girlfriend, we were continuing to see each other and even volunteered to do work around my house, which would have cost me hundreds of dollars if I hired a handyman. So I thought things were going well. He used to text me during the day and call me and told me he missed me. We would normally see each other on the weekends. About 2 weeks ago, though, he stopped texting me during the day and will only call me in the evening. Phone conversations were usually short and kind of dry. He barely tells me now that he misses me. Today, he didn't call me at all. I feel emotionally disconnected from him during the week, and I feel like this is not a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. I haven't talked to him about this and don't know how to approach it. I feel like we need to put the brakes on sex and spend more time getting to know each other, but I don't know how to go back to the beginning or if this is even doable. Thoughts. Rinka, you're struggling from a problem that a lot of women ask me about. They say, Tomisin, I have done everything wrong in the exact opposite order of how I was supposed to do it. How do I undo all of my mistakes? And the answer is you cannot. Truthfully and honestly, you cannot. The only thing you could do in this scenario, which is a long shot, is pull all of your energy back to the point where you're barely even talking to him or acknowledging him, that he literally starts begging for your attention, time, and energy, that you end up saying, look, I don't like how this relationship is going, so that's why I've pulled away a little bit. And, these things need to change if I'm actually going to invest myself in this situation. I'm kind of, summarizing it, but that's essentially what you would have to do if you wanted to return or change your situation, because it would take something that drastic to make his reaction drastic, to make you say, okay, if you want to change in my energy towards you, then I need this change in our relationship. Anything outside of that, you begging for him to change, you asking him to change the way he approaches this or how much often he talks to you, none of that is going to work. I'm telling you, I've helped hundreds of women. It never works. Even if you ask him, even if you beg him, even if he's like, sure, I'll make a change, he'll do it for a couple of days, then he'll go back to doing what he wanted to do in the first place. Guys only change when they're in pain. They only change when they feel it's necessary because they want to stop being in pain, right? So it's very selfish in that sense. Unless he feels like he needs to make a change because something that he's experiencing he doesn't like experiencing, then he's probably not going to make a change. He's not just going to say, oh, because you feel like this isn't a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, I'm going to change everything in my approach now. The other part is you might just have to accept that this is one of the situations where you take your loss and you just say that I'm going to learn from it. I'll be honest with you, because like I talk about, relationships are like cement. Once you pour them and you let them take shape and they harden, it's very hard to change that shape after the fact. And this might be one of the situations where maybe this wasn't your guy. I know it sucks to hear. but maybe it wasn't your guy. And this situation is meant to show you that in the future, you do not allow your feelings at the beginning of when you start dating someone to make you stray from your overall goals, which is to have a healthy boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, not just a guy who sleeps with you on the first 2 weeks, is excited to see you for the first 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden he doesn't seem that interested in you anymore, right? And pacing yourself. Okay. Let's hop into our next question here. Hopefully I can get them in the right order somewhat around there. So new boyfriend confusion. This is from Miss Kennedy, who says, I messed things up. Okay. So Miss Kennedy says, I know I messed this up, but is it fixable? Why do I have my AirPods still in? Okay. That's the wrong one. Miss Kennedy says, hey, Tomisin, I need you to help a sister out. Basically last year, I'm 24. I was 22 to 23 at that time. I was at one of my old jobs, and an old acquaintance from high school, who's 22 now, he was 20 to 21 at the time, and his brother ended up coming to my job. He pretty quickly got a huge crush on me and was up my bum about being with me, and I really liked him back. Literally, he would call me 1 to 2 times a week just to sit on FaceTime and talk about random stuff or his family. I wouldn't, and this is a side note, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Even if a guy really is interested in you, I would want you to channel his interest into asking you out on a date, not sitting on FaceTime with you endlessly, because that doesn't do anything for your relationship really and truthfully, right? Especially if a guy who's really into you. Would tell his boys not to talk to me because I was going to be his girl. His friends confirmed this to me, told his uncle about a girl he hasn't even taken on a date. Okay. Who joined our job, was a whole family there. And he tried to put me on with this guy. He'd also literally talk about making me his girl while on the phone with me. Why hasn't he taken you on a date? Why? As well as some other things, but I thought he was playing because he would talk a lot about us meeting up, hanging out, talk a lot, but wouldn't ever actually plan anything. And after maybe 2 months of that, I was getting kind of annoyed and tired of waiting. Anyways, one of his work friends kept hitting me up and trying to be friends with benefits. What? And I denied him like 2 to 3 times, but for some reason, my stupid self gave in and we sexted one night. What? Okay, what is this story? Miss Kennedy, what is this story? What? You're a grown woman. What do you mean? What are you doing? You're talking about you like a guy, you find him interesting and whatnot. Why are you sexting his work friend? What are we doing here? I know, feel free to boo me or throw tomatoes. I wish I had never done this. And immediately, like the next day, I saw the guy and he was an ice king. He wouldn't talk to me, look me in the eyes or anything. His friend definitely told him about what we did. Maybe it was a setup. I don't really know. But I spent the next few weeks trying to talk to him and he wasn't budging. So I gave up after a while and tried to leave him alone and move on. But he would randomly come talk to me and then got mad and walked off if I mentioned any other guy. And one time he got really upset when he saw another guy in my car. Why was another guy in your car? The dude parked far away and it was raining, so I was just driving him to his car. So this led me to believe that even though he was mad at me and avoided me for what I did, he still did care or have feelings for me. That's not what that means. I'm going to tell you what that means after this. Anyways, long story short, we fell out not too long after this, May last year, because I admitted I pestered the F out of him because I felt really guilty, and we completely stopped interacting with each other at work and on the phone. I removed and blocked him everywhere. I ended up leaving that job. We went back into contact this May. I unblocked him after like 5 months, thinking we'd never get back into contact, and he ended up friend requesting me, but I didn't accept until months later. And things started out good with him hitting me up and asking if we could call or hang out, asking about my schedule. And we spent a lot of time catching up. And he was telling me about his life now and all the stuff. He mentioned making me his girlfriend again, but fell off not too long after that. He doesn't talk to me as much now. He sends me texts, photos of what he's doing, Insta reels, and replies to some of my stories about every week or so. And that's it. When I try to suggest something, it's always, I'll check my schedule and we'll see. He's giving you the we'll see. Interesting. He never even actually called me or initiated plans despite asking if we could. I'm interested to know on why he's been quiet, but I haven't asked him. I've been taking yours and other YouTubers' advice about just giving him space, and he's muted on Insta, so I don't see his text till hours later, so I don't accidentally spam/bug him. He's been texting a bit more recently, but I want to know if there's anything else I can do to reel him back in, and do you think this is fixable? I know I screwed up last year, but he hasn't brought up the situation at all and brushes it off when I try to. He seems to be very friendly again, like nothing happened. But I can't help feeling he's a bit distant because of how I hurt him in the past. But I don't know why he wouldn't come back. He would have come back if that was the case. What do you think and what should I do? Okay, so for your question, Miss Kennedy, let me explain to you what I think has transpired if the scenario is that he heard that you sexted his work friend after, that whole debacle situation. What I think might have transpired is, I don't know how serious he was about actually dating you, but what I think he started to say to himself was, I like her. If she's going to be the work bop, I'm not trying to be mean to you, I'm just giving you like how guys think. If she's going to be the work bop, I might as well get my own turn. So let me keep flirting with her. Let me keep talking to her. And maybe in the process of me chatting with her, I can get and extract what I want to get out of her, because clearly she doesn't have a problem texting and, sexting with all the guys in the work office, right? So let me get what I want out of her, and then, I'll be on my way after that. So he might be keeping up the charade to feel like I want to finish what I started, which also makes me feel like maybe that's what he's trying to do here in continuing to text you and message you afterwards, where he's thinking like, damn, she was kind of good looking, attractive. I know she wanted me. Let me finish what I started here, in the sense of, let me see if I can eventually extract, actually sleeping with her or whatever the case may be. Now, the other thing that I'll note that is weird is the fact that he hasn't actually seen you in person. That also makes me feel like you just shouldn't waste your time thinking about him at all, regardless of whether or not he's trying to, spin the block or, just extract sex from you. Because what's the purpose of any of this? If he's going to talk to you endlessly on the phone, FaceTime you, chit chat with you, text you, what is that doing for a real life relationship? It's doing nothing. So I don't want you, Miss Kennedy, continuing to put so much energy into, oh, he's texting me, he seems to be interested in me, so what does it all mean? It means nothing unless he asks you out on a date. That's what I want you to think to yourself. None of this means anything until he asks me out on a real date. And I don't want you to take him seriously. I don't want you to pause your life. I definitely don't want you to stop dating for him, right? Or be waiting for him until he asks you out on a real date. Anything that's not him asking you out on a real date is useless information to you. You don't care about it, and it doesn't concern you, because you cannot build a relationship out of being a good texter or FaceTiming the most or calling the most, okay? None of that helps you build a real relationship. And this is the other interesting thing. Now that you're not seeing him at work, now you really get to see how serious he is about seeing you, because if it's not work, right, now it's nothing. So if he's not still going to see you, even though he's not seeing you at work, then you guys don't see each other ever. So what type of relationship is that? It's not one. Okay. Let's go on to our next question here. So we did miss, I wish I could like organize these in a way where I can see them all in like the place where I'm going to answer them. Let's see here. So we have this one here. Oh, this was just a little bit. We kind of just did a little bit question. Sandra, the rest of the message. Wait, what? I don't know where the first part of the message is. One of three? Avoiding search for answers and closure. Okay, let's see. We'll do this one. Let's see how long this is. Yes, not that bad. Avoiding searching for answers and closure. T says, one of three. Hi, I'm a 42-year-old female, and I was dating a 42-year-old man, 45-year-old man for just a little bit over a month. I knew him in high school, although he doesn't remember me much because he was older. We reconnected on Hinge. Okay. Up until about 5 days ago, he's been super consistent and true to his word, as well as being a perfect gentleman. What I know about him from the questions I've asked: he's single and has been for at least a few years. He's got 2 adult daughters, one of them whom doesn't live in the state, and he and his older sister live together. What? You said he's 45. What? He and his older sister live together, not really sure the reason for this, stated he's looking for a relationship. What? You should be sure why he lives with his sister. That's not something that you're supposed to be confused about or in the dark about. That we just talked about that on today's show. When we started talking, he already had a trip planned out of the country. With what money? He lives with his sister. He was supposed to be gone for a whole month. However, he ended up cutting the trip to 2 weeks. He has a super quirky personality. He's best friends with a guy who knows me a little bit better. What does that mean? Because his brother was in my class. Based on what he said, the guy I was dating and his friend discussed me only in the aspect of remembering who I was. He stated his friend told him that I had a really good heart and some nice things, and also refreshed his memory a bit about who I was. He made sure to initiate to take me out on the first date before he left to go out of the country. He came to get me, opened the doors, etc., all the things he was supposed to do. He left the day after our date. I spoke to him either by the phone, text, or video the entire time he was out of the country. Not too much that I was available every time, but enough to keep the conversation going. He came back and made sure to take me out on another date after. Early the day of the date, he called me and stated he had been in this seminar and made some connections and was invited to do a further business conversation. He apologized and politely asked if I was okay with canceling our date and rescheduling for the following day. He stated, "I'll come get you," etc. I told him, yes, we could reschedule, but the following day would not work for me. He went down the consecutive days, eager to go on the second day soon. Instead, I suggested additional days out. The next morning, because I truly felt that he canceled our date, I checked the temperature by sending a text early that morning stating, "I hope your meeting went well." He responded midday stating that he was just waking up from a hangover, immediately teed me off because I interpreted that as not busyness, like meaning like, hey, you were supposed to be at a meeting. That was why we couldn't hang out. And to think that you felt it was better to use your time keeping the date you basically begged me for and initiated with me. Instead of getting angry, I sent him this message: "Good afternoon. Sounds like quite a night. I'm looking forward to our rescheduled date, and hopefully we can plan in advance time to ensure my schedule is open." The day of that date, he confirmed early that morning that the date was still on and that he was aiming for 7 p.m. I confirmed and said okay. 5:30 p.m. arrived, and he called asking if I could meet him at the restaurant. Mind you, the restaurant was literally directed across the street from where I live, so very close to you. I could have walked there. I'm not sure he knew this when he picked the place, but I told him that if this was the day, I was more comfortable with him coming to pick me up. He said, okay, no problem. He told me he should arrive around 7:15, which he did. We went on the date, had a nice conversation, and a few laughs. He dropped me home and departed, just as he had previously done. No extra stuff, no suggestive lingering, just very respectful, court-like, and court-like. 2 or more days went by, and we continued to talk, but through text, no phone calls as before. Then boom, one day we were texting, and I responded to a message answering how the rest of my day was. There was zero negativity, nothing extra, no getting smart, just simply stated what I did and briefly and that I was home now. No response. 2 more days followed, no contact. So I checked WhatsApp to see if he had been logged in as a way to confirm that nothing tragic had happened. He had definitely been online several times throughout both days. By the end of the day, I decided to just send him a message simply saying, "You good?" No response. I waited a couple hours to follow up call, no answer. At this point, you're embarrassing yourself by continuing to reach out, okay? He clearly is ignoring you. I have not said anything since then, and neither has he. It's been 2 days since I made that text and call. I did go ahead and delete his contact messages, and luckily I didn't know his number by heart, so I'm really trying to keep myself from searching for answers and closure. What could have possibly gone wrong here because I'm completely lost? Well, you've only been on really 2 dates with this guy, right? And you don't really know anything about him. I'm not saying it's your fault. You're not supposed to just going on 2 dates with someone, but like you have to factor in, like, you don't know what's transpiring in this guy's life. The other thing about it is, I don't know how much information you even have on this guy's real life, because you kind of glossed over it, but the most important part of this message is he's 45, right? 45-year-old man, and he lives with his sister. That's not normal, okay? And the fact that you say you're not really sure the reason for this, that really, really bothers me and really makes me feel uncomfortable, because there's probably a very, very important reason to why he lives with his sister, which you should be aware of, because it definitely directly affects you and your ability to be in a successful relationship with him. Because even in the scenario in which everything else was going perfectly, what are the next steps of a relationship with him? Because if he doesn't have enough financial stability to be able to live on his own, I'm very concerned whether he's going to be able to have financial stability to be in a relationship in general, right? If you're 45, still living with your sister, who even knows if he's actually even paying rent, or if that's his sister's place that he's living at? Does he have a full-time job? If he does have a full-time job, does he know how to use his money wisely? Because he's going on trips that's, supposed to last a whole month. He doesn't even have a whole place. He's 45. We're not talking about someone in their late 20s or even early 30s. You get what I'm saying? We're talking about a 45-year-old man who's living with his sister. We don't know if he's even paying rent there. Why is he living with his sister? What is his financial situation that he doesn't have his own place? How are you guys supposed to have privacy even if you do start dating where he lives with his sister? You can't go back to his place. And why can't you go back to his place? What is his situation that's not allowing him to move out? That's a super huge question, because that definitely affects the quality of life of the relationship. So that's something where if you were to see this guy again, before you even see this guy again, if you're texting or calling or on FaceTime, that needs to be something you get clarity on, because I don't see any reason why a 45-year-old man should be living with his sister. Okay. Someone said he separated from his wife and that's why he lives with his sister. That's an assumption, or did she say that here? Because I don't see that anywhere here, right? Or you're just saying that, putting that together there. But T, that's what I would say is the number one thing you need to be getting an answer for, because anything, this is a very weird, like someone just said in the chat, this is very, very weird. And I don't see any reason why a 45-year-old man would be living with the sister outside of finances. Okay. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have questions for me, whether it be in the free section, premium section, or the voice message section that I'm going to create for you guys today or tomorrow, feel free to ask them. Like I said, I will be prioritizing the voice messages because I feel like it's just an easy way to go through the messages. Keep your questions under 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, you get to ask your question. If it's over 2 minutes, I don't want to, not that I don't want to hear your question, but I just don't want it to be so long that we kind of lose the plot of the question. 2 minutes max for your question. Keep it under that length, and we'll answer that in the Discord. I'll prioritize those after the premium questions, okay? For those of you who are wanting to watch the show, when you can catch me live again, I'll be live. So, very important. The new time is going to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So 3 days a week is what we're going to stick to for now. And that will be the times where I can be consistent, be on time, and be prepared like we were today, have all the notes already prepared. So it's a very easy show to go through, okay? So I won't be here tomorrow, but I'll be here again on Wednesday. And what I'm going to start doing, which I already did, all the shows that I'm going to do for the week will be out in the live section they'll just show upcoming. So make sure you liking the live show before it comes up, and then also making sure that you set it so you get a notification when I go live for that show. So the topic for Wednesday is already out. It's on my live upcoming scheduled section. And then the topic for Friday is already out that we're going to discuss in the live show as well. So make sure you're having the notification on for that so that you're ready to go as soon as I go live, which I should be more or less on time nowadays. Okay, does that make sense? My apologies for the reaction segment today. Don't worry, tomorrow's reactions or Wednesday's reaction segment will be more I won't listen to the whole thing, but I'll make sure there's meaty information about dating and relationships, not just talking about a whole coworker thing. Okay, that won't happen again. All right, until we meet again on Wednesday, I bid you adieu, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam, baoni, bon voyage! And I'll see you again on Wednesday at what time? 3 p.m.? 3 p.m. 3 p.m. For sure. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Love you. Bye.